a man that I am very grateful to call friend. Tonight, this our keynote speaker, Ron Mann.
It's good to be with you this evening. Unfortunately, I can't see you, but I can tell you there by the applause. Before I get on with my prepared talk, I want to tell you a story about that song that was just sung, and I'd like to thank the Freedom Choir for an excellent rendition. I don't know if you know about the author of that song, but it's an amazing story. There's an amazing message to that song that unfortunately most people don't know about. The author was raised in a Christian home. At about 8 years of age, his mother died, and he wandered off the beaten track. Eventually, he became a sea captain, and he was probably one of the most vicious, ugly, mean sea captains that roamed the sea. He was notorious for the way he treated his crew. One day, while they were out prowling around looking for something or other, he happened to slip and fell into the ocean. The crew actually despised him and didn't know whether to save him or not. So they decided they would save him. So one of their best harpooners picked up a harpoon, walked to the back of the ship, and threw it through his leg. They proceeded to drag him in, put him on the boat, and from that point in his life, he changed. He became a true Christian, as his mother would have believed, and he's the one that wrote that song. The message is a very simple one to us. If we wandered off the path rather to mending and taking care of our freedoms as guaranteed by our Constitution, then it's time to get back on the track. I hope it isn't necessary for somebody to throw a harpoon through you to bring you back to the Constitution. I'd like to also thank John Adams, who I admire as a tremendous speaker. He was the one that gave probably one of the most famous talks ever given on the Declaration of Independence during the debate of that document. And Patrick Henry, as you know, he didn't get on board the Constitution until many, many, many years after it had been signed. After the Bill of Rights was passed, and a few years later, he finally joined on and supported the Constitution. So I'm glad to hear him tonight saying what he did. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about a subject that's very important to me, and that's the genesis of our freedoms. This event we celebrate today, which happened some 234 years ago, did not start in Philadelphia in 1776, nor did it start in April of 1775, but it goes way, way, way back beyond 1215, actually June 15, 1215, which was assigned the Magna Carta. It took many, many years and hundreds of lives to make possible the freedoms you enjoy today. I used to work for the Boeing Aircraft Company, and as you know, we all built the finest planes in the world. When we build an airplane, we started some 20 to 25 years before we ever built it, before it was to fly. It required a variety of people. For example, the first thing we did when we decided we wanted to build a new airplane, we got some of the best marketeers in the world, and they researched to find out what kind of airplane would be needed in 25 years, what kind of range did it need, and how many passengers. Those were the two most important questions that had to be answered. The size of the airplane, how many people, and its range. That was the starting point. And after that, we hired research engineers to look at the various technologies that were available or would be available. And we proceeded through the next 20 or 25 years, hiring different skilled people to do various parts of the airplane. Eventually, it got to the point where we would build a prototype and then proceed to test it. Matter of fact, 2 or 3 of them. We would test one to total destruction to make sure it would stay together when in flight. Another one we tested with the electronic components to make sure they all worked. And then we had the formal flight test the aircraft. Not until it had been thoroughly tested did we ever put up for sale. And if any weaknesses were found, we ironed them out. But again, like I said, It wasn't built overnight. It took at least 25 years. In the case of our frame of government, our Father in heaven started working on that at least 1250, I think much beyond that. For example, at the time of the Magna Carta, 1215, the world was in a dark period. Freedom was not to be found as we've enjoyed. People lived as serfs. They were either serfs or they were wealthy, barons or whatnot. What happened is very interesting. A group of barons got together and decided that King John, who was also wicked like the author of the song, so they decided to do something about it. There was a gentleman named Stephen Langston who was cardinal at the time, and he decided it would be a good idea to bring together a bunch of barons and figure out what to do about King John. They met, they sorted out the guys who believed like Stephen Langston, held another meeting and decided what they would do. They would force King John to sign the Magna Carta, which granted them certain rights. Accordingly, on the 15th of June, 1215, they met, and King John, reticent at first, but when he realized that the barons had more forces there than he had, he agreed to sign the Magna Carta. But he also decided, unknowns to the barons, that he would do something about it afterwards. After he had signed the document and the meeting broke up, King John went back to his palace, collected all of his riches, all those things which he cherished, and proceeded to put them in wagons. And then he gathered up his whole army and marched towards the leading baron. His plan was to go get that baron and make him repent and then destroy him if necessary, and then go to each one of the barons till he had reversed the document he had signed. Now this is where Providence gets involved. Had he been successful in doing that, we would not have had a Magna Carta. We wouldn't have been where we are today. What happened was, it happened this way. In order to get to this particular baron, he had to cross a very large stream that entered into the ocean. Every day at a particular hour, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the tide would come in, and it would meet the river going out, and the water would clash and throw a plume up in the air 30, 40, or 50 feet. And it was not a good place to be, the river being quite wide. Well, the baron starts out, and he gets to that stream about 3:30. And his experts said, King John, we better not cross the river right now. We better camp here tonight and then go across tomorrow. King John was full of rage. He said, nuts, we're going on tonight. We can get across before that happens, before the two meet. So they started across the stream, and most of his wagons, almost all of them, were in the middle of the stream with his various soldiers when it happened. The waters came together, splashed, and proceeded to destroy his wagons. Luckily, a few of his soldiers survived, and he survived. However, all his gold and riches were distributed somewhere out in the ocean. To this day, to right now, the only thing that they found of his riches was one golden cup. Everything else was lost. He'd lost his wealth and his army. He went back to his palace. 6 months later, he died. I believe Providence was involved in stopping him from doing something that could have jeopardized the process of freedom. It's like building that airplane. If we hadn't had good market analysis and gave us the wrong data on what was needed, we could have been destroyed as well. Well, over time, there were many such people involved in the bringing forth of this nation. There was another man, a scholar who worked out at Cambridge. His name was John Wycliffe. He was absolutely one of the truly great scholars of all time. He'd written some 95 books. He was fluent in Greek, Hebrew, Latin, and several other languages. And he decided, we're talking now 1350s in that time period, that if he could translate the Bible into English and get it in the hands of the average person, then he could do two things. First, he could teach principles that Jesus Christ taught, not having to go through the filters of the priestcrafts, but go directly to the people.